You know, when I first saw on Twitter, right, a couple days ago, Seth Rollins, tweeting out, that WWE is the best product, the best wrestling company there is, putting on great matches, night in, night out, telling fans to name people who has done what he's done as often as he does it. Seth Rollins, you know, me, honestly, I honestly feel this way now, where like me liking him as a fan, it just starts to decrease and just decline and go further down. It's just my views on Seth is slowly changing, and it's kind of sad if you ask me. It's kind of sad if you look at it. You see, I'm not gonna bullshit. Years ago I was pro WWE, like 100%, no doubt. I was all the way like, oh, like fuck the other companies. If you want to watch them, go watch those other companies. Go watch New Japan. Go watch Impact, even though they're trash at the time. Go watch other wrestling companies, Ring of Honor, etc. I was pro WWE through good and bad or indifferent. And then, as years went on, my eyes started to get wider. My mind started to understand things, and my eyes were able to see things clearer and just looking at things in a different perspective. To see Seth Rollins coming out here, or looking at him on Twitter, tweeting out, say who's better than me, and then fans tell him that, or wrestlers themselves will tell him that, saying Will Ospreay said I'm alive. And then Seth Rollins is like, all right, let's talk bank accounts and talk about appearances and, doing such and such. Trying to compare himself to Will Ospreay did Seth Rollins. And honestly, if anyone tries to use money as a way to win an argument, already lost, in my opinion. It's the weakest form of a way to win an argument. It's the weakest way to end an argument. Oh, I got more money than you, pal. And for real, I mean, come on, Seth. You could have done more than that. You asked people, name somebody that can do what I can do in and out as often as I do it. And then somebody came out and said they can do what you do on a nightly or weekly basis. And then you took offense to that, and you were instantly went to, oh, nah, bigger than you, more money, I'm rich, I'm famous. Even though you're not really famous, you're not really known that well in my eyes. When I think famous, I think John Cena famous. I think Rock famous, Brock Lesnar. The Undertaker's more famous than you, and he doesn't do freaking media appearances that much. If you don't have a name where people hear it and they immediately associate it with WWE when they say John Cena. If I ever ask somebody, hey, do you watch WWE or do you know about them? Oh yeah, where John Cena used to work at. Oh yeah, where The Rock, Dwayne Johnson used to work at, right? If you're not on that level, you ain't shit in my eyes. I'm sorry. That's how I look at it. Seth Rollins is a star. A superstar is at a level where even people who aren't familiar with WWE, they know at least one guy out of the company. I have never heard anyone say, oh, that's where Seth Rollins works, right? Never once heard that. So I don't know why he's coming out thinking that he's all that, when in reality he's not. He won a championship, in my eyes, the weakest way possible. Smart, but weak. It was a weak way to win the championship, because honestly, when I watch WrestleMania and I'm playing Apex with my friends, you see, normally when I'm watching a pay-per-view, and if someone I want to win a championship that bad wins a championship, normally I would fucking pop. But when he won the championship, I was like, okay, yeah, he did it. Good. That's how I felt. It wasn't a holy shit like how I felt with Kofi Kingston later on in the night at WrestleMania. How I popped and I almost had a teary-eyed moment. And not even that close for Seth Rollins. It was just, yes, he won the title finally. Fuck, get rid of Brock Lesnar or whatever. That's how it was. It was like, good, got the job done, you know. And then I moved on easily. But for everyone else that I want to win championships like Becky Lynch and Kofi Kingston, I was like, I felt like I was on cloud 9. I was like, hell yeah, you know. Seth Rollins, again, he's not a superstar to me. When I think superstar, I think of the guys I just mentioned. When I think star, like, you're just a guy in the company that's well known by wrestling fans. You're not known around the world. You ain't shit in my eyes. I'm sorry. And I'm a fan of you. Even though I'm slowly I'm starting to see things otherwise. But I'm a fan. I'm a fan of what you do in the ring. And to say that, name somebody who's better than you, I mean, I honestly, I had trouble thinking, who's better than Seth? Who can do what? And then I'm like, it was right under my fucking tongue. I'm like, nah, not AJ Styles. Daniel Bryan is better than you. Simple. And then I'm like, as I'm sitting there and I'm listening to others criticize Seth, and I'm like, wait a minute. What does Seth Rollins have that others don't? I can't think of anything. What can Seth Rollins do that an AJ Styles can't do? What can Seth Rollins do that a Daniel Bryan can't do? What can Seth Rollins do what people outside of WWE cannot do? You know? He told Will Ospreay that Ricochet is a better version of him. I wouldn't go that far. I would say they're both equal. I wouldn't say he's better version. And actually, Ricochet is a one of a kind. I wouldn't say better version. When you think better version, pretty much the successor, you know? It's like, Will Ospreay was like, he's saying, it's like he's putting Will Ospreay in a position where, like, Will Ospreay was like the shit at one point, and then like Ricochet just stole his shine years later, and like Ricochet is the one on top, and then he's at the bottom. That's how I look at it. What's from what Seth Rollins said, you know, on Twitter. I honestly tried to let what his comments was tweeted on Twitter days ago. I was willing to let that go. I was willing to leave his comments alone, but yeah, that's his view, whatever. But I keep seeing more stupid shit, and then I hear the thing about Moxley, and I'm like, okay, what the fuck is he talking now? Why is he talking about Moxley? So here's what he said in the interview here from ProWrestlingSheet.com, just to get a little, you know, transcript of it. Quote, and like I said, I love the guy, Moxley. I love him. I'll always love him. But at the end of the day, we just share different perspectives about what we want out of life and about where we're at in our own lives. I hope that he does well. I've kept enough tabs on him to know that he's doing super well for himself right now. And I'm happy for it. But I just don't think there's any reason to hop on a soapbox and complain after the fact. You need to step to the first step. You need to take the first step. And that's looking into the mirror and asking yourself to do every single thing you can possibly could to make yourself and your situation what you want it to be. And if the answer is yes, you did, then you could go elsewhere and complain. If that's where he's at mentally, then go right ahead. But if he hasn't done that, he hasn't looked in the mirror and made that decision, then maybe he should think about that. That goes for any other disgruntled talent, past or present. What I don't understand is Seth Rollins, I guess, put away the fact that Dean Ambrose, now Moxley, or Jonathan Good, if you want to go that route. Jonathan Good, the guy behind those two gimmicks, was able to put over WWE in the podcast with Jericho, Take's Jericho podcast. He was able to put the company over, saying that, you know, he's grateful for what they've done for him. He's grateful for this. He's grateful for that. Meeting his wife, having friends, etc. Having the success, having the, you know, the fans buzz around him and stuff like that. He was grateful. He put them over at the beginning of the podcast. Obviously, there's going to be stuff that he didn't like in the company, and he had a chance to release it. It's not like he just came out and just only, and I mean only, just put the WWE on blast and just shitted on it, and then that's it. He didn't say, oh, thank you for this, thank you for that, I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for that. No, he just said, like, he just came out and just fuck the company, you know, just said, pretty much just came out and said, fuck the company, fuck this shit, you know, I don't care. No, that wasn't the case at all. He came out, he put it over, he said thanks, he's grateful for it, everything. And then after that, he aired out his, you know, his opinions on what they've done with him backstage. So again, I asked the question, what does Seth Rollins have that others don't? If I'm looking for a guy to do unbelievable stunts in the ring, I'll look at a Ricochet. If I'm looking at a guy that the fans can get behind, I'm looking at it AJ Styles. If I'm looking at charisma, Seth Rollins has no charisma whatsoever. No personality whatsoever. And I dare anyone to tell me otherwise. I have charisma. I know I do. I have a personality. I know I do. Seth Rollins does not have a personality. When Seth Rollins speaks, I find it so hard to take it seriously. When he comes out and yells, I am done playing around, and he's serious, this and that, I sit there and be like, you tried, it just didn't work out. I'm sorry. Simple. Simple as that. Seth Rollins has no charisma, no personality whatsoever. So to name those who could do better, I could just name Daniel Bryan and I'll be done with it. Because Daniel Bryan has charisma. Daniel Bryan has a personality. Whether he's a heel or a babyface, he has both. Simple. Seth Rollins, you're dating Becky Lynch. Cool. So? I'm trying my best to not look at this in a big way. Oh my god, he's dating Becky Lynch! Holy shit! Really? I mean, I don't see anything big about it. It's just, when I first heard it, I was like, oh, okay. Didn't really thought of that, but alright. You know, I was like, oh shit, Rollins and Becky Lynch. Never thought they would be together or whatever. And then they became a couple. There you go. There you go, done deal. But my feeling on Becky Lynch is the same way how I feel about Seth Rollins. You're fucking boring to me. You've been boring for the past 2 months. Okay? But for Seth, sadly, he's been boring to me ever since, I think, I'm going to say ever since the fall. Since the fall season, okay? Since when Ambrose turned heel on Seth Rollins, that's when Seth started to get boring to me. Deep down. You know, I gave it hope. I gave him chance after chance. But in the end, it just got boring and boring and boring and boring and boring. And then when he won the Rumble, holy shit, yay! He won the Rumble. Good. And then nothing happened when he won the Rumble. No interest when he won the Rumble. Like, nothing happened with him. It was all about Becky and all about Brock and all about Roman coming back and the Shield being reformed. Nothing about Seth Rollins personally, of him going to WrestleMania, possibly main eventing, even though that wasn't going to be the case anyway. But still, being a part of a big match against Brock Lesnar, still, for the first time since 2015, Seth Rollins is taking on Brock Lesnar one-on-one on pay-per-view for a championship, and no interest. All people were looking forward to was Seth beating Brock. There was no interest in this match whatsoever. And then when he won the title, it was great. What did he do first night? He tried to unify the championships with Kofi Kingston. That didn't work out. Then we had a boring match with the Bar, and then nothing after that happened. After that, things didn't really take off. Everything was flat, and then the wild card rule came into play. And then Seth Rollins got his first challenger, AJ Styles. He went up against AJ in a magnificent match at Money in the Bank. But then right after that, nothing. Nothing. Everything fucking died. Seth Rollins' title reign is now a fucking sham. Seth Rollins as a champion right now is the most boring thing. I rather have Roman fucking Reigns as Universal Champion than Seth Rollins right now. I'm being dead serious. I'm not saying this out of spite. I'm just saying it because guess what? Roman Reigns on some level, on somewhat of a level, Roman Reigns entertains me. You don't. Seth Rollins does not entertain me like I thought he did. Like I thought he could. He can't entertain me. He's just boring. All he can do is say, burn it down. That's it. The only good thing about Seth Rollins is those fucking words in his theme song now. After that, what is there to like about Seth? Oh, he can do high-flying maneuvers. So can Ricochet. He can make a match be so freaking great. So can AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan. Why do I need a Seth Rollins when I got those two? The way how I felt about AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan, it cannot be duplicated with Seth Rollins. It just can't. If you was to tell me to take AJ, Bryan, and Rollins and put them in a list, Rollins would be at the bottom of the list. Those two would be at the top two right now. Honest feelings about Seth. And I'm being dead serious. I dare anyone to tell me what charisma does Seth Rollins have. At one point, at least for within the past 8 months, has Seth Rollins has been entertaining. Tell me when, and I'll look back at it, and I'll say you're fucking wrong. I have not changed my mind. This is worse than 2016 when he's calling Jericho Sparkle Crotch. Remember that shit? I didn't forget. Seth Rollins right now, all because he's dating Becky Lynch, I guess. He felt like, oh, you know, the man in Becky Lynch is rubbing off onto Seth Rollins to where he can actually go on Twitter and say the shit he's saying. You know, I'd rather him not say anything at all than to him voice his opinion and then get all this backlash at him. Honestly. Because regardless if he tweeted this or not, my feelings of Seth have been this way within the past 8 months. And it's sad. He is a talented athlete, no doubt about it. He can do it on a nightly, consistent basis. But at the same time, he's not entertaining me. Brock Lesnar, in those 3-4 weeks of him being Mr. Money in the Bank, even though he is still Mr. Money in the Bank now, of him coming out, Brock Party, and having the briefcase and bopping his head and whatnot, Brock Lesnar has entertained me in 4 weeks than what Rollins couldn't do in 8 fucking months. So I dare anyone to tell me, when I tweeted how Brock Lesnar should be Universal Champion, if he's that entertaining and showing that much personality and that much charisma a little bit, why can't he not be Universal Champion and be that entertaining? Explain why not. Now I understand if he wins the Universal Championship, he'll go right back to how he was before, jumping around in the ring while Heyman cuts a promo. I know. I'm not dumb. I know. Well, I'm just saying, if they can make Brock Lesnar entertaining, they can. And they did with the briefcase. Literally. Like, all I'm saying is, I'm tired of this shit. I'm tired of wrestlers just coming out and saying shit like that, using money to win an argument, which is pathetic. It's pathetic. Honestly, he should have. I honestly think he should have deleted his tweets. Honestly, I don't know what to think about Seth Rollins anymore. All I can say is me being a fan of you is just slowly declining, and my feelings of you slowly started to change. My views on Seth Rollins has slowly changed, and I honestly couldn't care less. He sucks as Universal Champion. He's not entertaining. I don't care what he says. I don't care what anyone says about, oh, it's the company's fault. Well, it's their fault that I find Rollins boring, then so fucking be it. But in the end of the day, for him to come out and say that, oh, if you didn't try to make things your best, and you need to go look in the mirror to ask yourself and question yourself whether if you did things the way, if you made things the way that you wanted it to go. I mean, I know there's a lot of things Seth Rollins has done that he could have wanted to change or do something, but he didn't. And when he came out and does what he does or says what he says, again, like I said in the beginning, Seth Rollins ain't shit. When you think of a superstar, you think of guys like Cena, Rock, Austin, Lesnar, Kane, Taker, Foley, etc. Guys, again, non-wrestling fans can easily know whenever WWE is even mentioned. Whenever they hear wrestling, that, oh yeah, Mick Foley, when he fell off the cage. Oh yeah, Austin, he was a badass. Oh yeah, Rock, now he's doing movies. But he used to be so great back then. Or Undertaker, like, all this shit. If you're not mentioned in that tone by a non-wrestling fan, in my eyes, you're not a superstar. You're just a star in the wrestling business. And that's all I got to say about that. Simple. That's my thoughts on Seth Rollins. Wrestling discussions. Want to come out here and let you guys know how I feel about Seth Rollins' comments. Do you agree with what he said? Are you starting to see things a bit differently with Seth Rollins now after his comments? Leave your comments down below. Honestly, I'm just not a big fan as I used to be with Seth. I think his highest peak had to be his Intercontinental Championship reign. His feud with Dolph Ziggler was great. And then when they reformed the Shield, it all went downhill from there. And ever since then, he hasn't come back. He has not come back to that level. Seth Rollins, again, is fucking boring. Becky Lynch, you want me to go on Becky Lynch? I'll go on Becky Lynch real quick. Becky Lynch has been awful to me ever since she won the women's title at WrestleMania. After that, everything went downhill. Everything is trash now. She's boring. She says everything the same. When the man comes around. Fucking boring. Boring. If I can't sit through a segment without fast forwarding faster than I possibly could, boring. If I have my TV muted and I'm on my laptop, boring. If I'm sitting there and I'm doing anything else but pay attention to my television screen when you're on and you're talking or having a match, whatever, boring. Simple as that. Becky Lynch is right there with Seth. Boring. Now, I don't care if they're champions or not, you're just boring. And again, to reiterate this one more time, I don't care who this offends or liked or disliked or hated. I will take the big dog and Michael Cole yelling out the big dog. And I'm not really a big Roman Reigns mark, but I'm a fan regardless. And I'm not a fan of his storyline right now with Shane and McIntyre and Undertaker. But again, I'd rather take Roman Reigns because at least they're willing to do shit with him, regardless of how we feel, unless at some point, even though it's forced, at some point, there's a bit of interest from me to Roman. With Seth, he's boring. But with Roman, I actually sit there and I'm actually paying attention. It's sad. It's funny. If I said this shit last year, if I take my last year's self and talk with myself now, my last year's self would slap the fucking shit out of me and say, you're fucking wrong, you're an idiot, you're just wrong about Seth Rollins, he's cool, he's great. But then, wait till later on the year, and then you'll see what I mean. Seth Rollins, in the end of the day, isn't shit.